Have you ever been so hungry that you could think of nothing else, and then someone asked you to give away your only meal? What would you do? Would you share it or keep it? Today's story from old Korea is about a poor boy who faced that exact choice, and the decision he made changed his life in a way he never expected. Long ago, in a quiet mountain village in old Korea, there was a small thatched house standing at the edge of the road. It leaned slightly to one side, and in winter the cold wind slipped through the cracks in the walls. That was where a poor farmer, his wife, and their young son lived. Everyone in the village knew that family. They didn't have much, but people often said, "They're poor, but they have kind hearts." The problem was, their 10-year-old son didn't always feel proud of that. Sometimes he felt embarrassed. One afternoon, the boy was playing with other children near the village market. When it was time to eat, the kids sat under a big tree and opened their lunch cloths. One boy had white rice and meat. Another had sweet rice cakes. They laughed and talked loudly. Then one of them looked at the boy. "Hey, what did you bring today?" The boy slowly opened his cloth. Inside was barley rice and a little bit of kimchi. One child chuckled. "Barley rice again?" The others laughed. The boy quickly wrapped the cloth again. He didn't say anything. He just stared at the ground and wished he could disappear. When he got home, he pushed the door open harder than usual. "Why are we always so poor?" he burst out. "Other kids eat good food. Why do we always eat this?" His mother lowered her eyes and said nothing. His father watched him quietly for a moment and then said, "Son, we may not have much, but we never take what isn't ours." The boy didn't answer. At that moment, those words didn't mean much to him. A few days later, winter came suddenly. Snow began falling early in the morning and didn't stop. By evening, the whole village was buried in white. The fields were frozen, and the roads disappeared under thick snow. That night, the boy's mother opened the rice jar in the kitchen. She stared inside for a long moment and sighed. There was almost nothing left, just enough rice to make one small bowl. She washed the rice carefully and placed it in a small pot. Soon, the smell of warm rice filled the little house. The boy's stomach growled immediately. When the rice was ready, his mother placed the bowl in front of him. "You eat tonight?" she said softly. The boy looked at the bowl. Steam rose slowly from the rice. It looked warm and comforting. Just then, the wind howled outside. The door rattled. Knock, knock, knock. The father opened the door. Outside stood an old man wearing thin, torn clothes. Snow covered his shoulders, and his body trembled from the cold. The old man spoke weakly. "I'm sorry to trouble you, but I haven't eaten for days. Do you happen to have something to eat?" The room went completely quiet. The mother glanced at the bowl of rice on the table. It was the only food they had left. The father said nothing. The boy held his spoon in the air. His stomach twisted with hunger. The warm smell of rice filled the room. For a moment, nobody moved. Then the boy slowly stood up. He picked up the bowl with both hands and walked to the door. He held it out to the old man. "Sir, you should have this." The old man blinked in surprise. "But isn't this your dinner?" The boy hesitated for a second, then nodded. "Yeah, but you look like you need it more." The old man slowly took the bowl. His hands were shaking. He began to eat, one spoonful, then another. After a few bites, tears rolled down his cheeks. "Thank you," he said quietly. "This means more than you know." When he finished, he bowed deeply. "I won't forget this. Not ever." Then he stepped back into the snowy night and disappeared down the dark road. That night, the family went to bed with empty stomachs. But strangely, the little house felt warm, warmer than usual. A few days later, something unusual happened in the village. Riders on horses arrived early in the morning. Government officials. The villagers gathered in the square, whispering nervously. "What's going on? Are they collecting taxes?" One of the officials slowly looked around the village. Then he pointed toward one small house. "The boy's house." People murmured in confusion. "Why that house?" The official stepped down from his horse and walked toward the door. The boy came outside and froze. It was the old man, but now he was wearing warm official robes. The villagers gasped in surprise. The man spoke so everyone could hear. "I was sent by the king to see which families in this village truly needed help." He paused and looked at the boy. A few nights ago, I came here disguised as a hungry traveler. The villagers listened in silence. This family had almost nothing, he continued. Yet this boy gave me his only bowl of rice. He turned to the soldiers behind him. Bring the grain! Soon, sacks of rice and barley were placed in front of the house, enough food for the entire winter. The villagers watched in amazement. The official looked at the boy and smiled gently. Some houses are rich with money, he said, but this house is rich with heart. From that day on, the boy never felt ashamed of his home again, because he finally understood something. Sometimes the poorest house has the richest heart. If this story touched your heart, please like and subscribe to Tell Korea for more beautiful stories from old Korea. And tell us in the comments, what would you have done if you were the boy? Would you have shared your last bowl of rice? We'd love to hear your thoughts.